up, down, up, down. Reminds me of the Karate Kid. Today is the 22nd of August 2021, and today it's been, I started this process back in November 2019 to try and correct my body as I was diagnosed with potential neuralgia and a pelvic floor dysfunction. And so now it's been well over 1.5 years, 1 year, 8 months actually. And yeah, I'm trying to squat as much as I can now, and as you can see, I can squat quite comfortably. When I was diagnosed with potential neuralgia, this would have been extremely difficult for me even to get into this position, as my body had locked basically. So someone asked me how am I getting on with somatics. Well, basically I've been doing somatics now for a couple of months, and it definitely helps without a doubt. Is it enough to change the tissues of the body? I don't know. Does it help you reconnect with the body? Yes. Is it safe? Yes. But I think it probably takes a long time. I feel my body shape when I do certain movements, and I did actually contact Sarah Warren, who runs the course somatics, specifically about the obturator internus muscle, because I know mine goes into spasm on my left side and the problems with my left hip. And she actually gave me a number of exercises combined to try and get that to release, and I can definitely feel when I'm rotating the hip outwards and trying to bring it back, my body actually shakes. So anything where it's shaking is basically inhibited, weak. They call it sensory motor amnesia. Obviously I've been having a lot of problems with my feet, and obviously the Proflex had caused me a lot of problems, to the point I could no longer, I was struggling to walk again basically. And going to see a specialist physio, he had me on my tiptoes, and he straight away said, I can tell you're weak. Anything where there's tension, weakness, tension, tension in the body is actually a weakness. So I've been doing very gentle concentric and eccentric loading of that calf muscle, and also the posterior tibialis and peroneus muscle using a TheraBand. And it shows just how weak my tibialis muscle and peroneus muscle is, because I even struggle to connect. And if you're not connecting, it means it's extremely inhibited. It's basically switching off. Ligaments and tendons are coming into play. I know my lower back is also very weak as well. But since I did somatics, I'd seen an osteopath very early on in this process, which was a load of rubbish basically. And I was tempted to go and see a chiropractor, which I did. And the chiropractor looked at my x-ray and said I had one of the most twisted iliums on my left side he'd ever seen. And I know I've always been walking very strangely all my life, so I've been lifting my left hip up to try and rebalance my pelvis, and I figured that out myself now, looking at old videos, etc. myself. The question is though, if this is congenital, I never had any pain growing up. Yes, I walked funny, but it never bothered me. So I think it's a case of, with myself, obviously there's been this skeletal congenital defect, which is, I don't think is a problem in the body. You've got what you're given with. But when you're sitting down all the time, and like with myself, I started to strain, had an anal fissure, and then my feet went, then my left hip went, and then eventually I ended up with potential neuralgia. It's possible that the anal fissure started a process, so then the feet can't compensate through that chain. They then fail at the end of the link, so to speak. Then that works back up the chain again. Other muscles then come into play, like the abductors. The glutes are obviously not firing up, inhibited. So then they can't compensate. Then I decided to go cycling, as advised by a physio, and then that was catastrophic. So yeah, but as you can see, I've been sat here now for quite a while. I'm quite comfortable painting. And I think really you need that movement in the body, you know. And the other day, I saw probably an 80-year-old lady, and she was weeding in her garden. And she was actually squatting as I am now, like a young child. And this is something I think we lose. And I would really highly recommend anyone to read Daniel Lieberman's book, Exercise, where he looks at primitive tribes. And these primitive tribes, even at the age of 70, he discovered only lose 20% of their strength. And they sit down a lot. And he talks about how the chair is the worst invention that happened, because it supports the back, and when you're being supported, you're not using the muscles to support your actual body weight. He actually, when he tried sitting with these old ladies, so to speak, around a campfire, this tribe, he couldn't, and he actually fell on one of the ladies, and they were just giggling and laughing as he tried to reposition himself. I've also done a lot of reading about isometrics, which is really interesting. Studies that were done with frogs many years ago, and be unethical now, but they actually splinted this frog so we could only use his leg in an isometric pattern, and his muscle mass increased by a factor of 3, which was really incredible. So to sum it up, yes, somatics is good. Is it enough? That I don't know. DCT caused me a lot of problems. I think getting strong could be the answer, I really do, but you've got to do it the right way, you've got to be very careful. So yeah, that's just another update. I will be bringing you another update hopefully in the next month, a special update, which I'm not going to give any details away yet. But yeah, so stay tuned and keep watching this video. If you're not already, please subscribe and just stay positive, because I do believe there is an ultimate cure for this. I'm about 60% there, but yeah, it's just chipping away at it. Okay, thank you, bye.